am very interested in culture. But not, I don't mean high culture like, art and symphonies, and that's all fine. But I have spent probably half of my adult life living, I was born in Minnesota, and Minnesota is a great place to grow up and then leave. And I'm one of them that have, well, it must be Minnesota up here. And so I have lived in Portugal, and I've lived in Holland, and I have worked in an international institute in Vienna, 17 countries, east and west, in the time of the Cold War. I was in Moscow in August of '91 when the putsch took place. I've been to China, certainly, right shortly after Tiananmen Square. I've been around. And I have also I've been a volunteer for the United Nations. Most people that work for the United Nations are volunteers. And working on international trade. I am very interested in bridging between cultures. And I am interested in how technology might help that out. I like to learn languages. For me it's a hobby. And I'm fairly good at Dutch and a bit of Spanish and Portuguese and some Russian. I'm trying to learn Chinese, but that's more of a challenge. So I appreciate to me, a big part of, so combining these interests, technology, language, culture, is why I'm here today talking to you about this particular technology. Confessions, last summer I had my 60th birthday. I started using computers when I was 14. So I've been using computers like 45, 46 years. In that time, I can tell you the progression is computers have gotten much more accessible. I doubt if there's a person in this room that doesn't feel comfortable with their personal computer these days. In the early days, that was very much an exclusive club. And back in the punch card days, and you had to learn this obscure languages of JCL and IBM or assembly language and things like that. Those days are long gone. And you can be a computer professional now and hardly do any programming, in fact. Computers, these particular kinds of technologies we're going to talk about today, I find I've used this technology for maybe about 150 students. It just grabs them. It's not only easy to learn, it's fun to learn. And I'm hoping I can sort of convey this fun part to you today. So I can almost guarantee you that in the next hour we're going to have fun. Now the other part of it, about learning, you have to help me by posing some questions and challenges to me. I work very well interactively, so don't be afraid of putting me on the spot. I'm here because we are, in fact, in a little bit different cultures. And I don't know what you're curious about. So if you tell me, then I can help target the presentation better. Let me introduce the key actors here. I'm the first one, Ronald Lee, introducing Gregory Diaz here up in front. Chen Kuai is this good-looking fellow up front, and we have another person who couldn't be here today. We were going to have her remotely, Catherine Franceschi, and she's in the University of Puerto Rico. But she had a conflicting class at this time, so it didn't quite work out. But anyway, she's an actor. She's finishing her PhD in looking at the concept of group presence in virtual worlds. So how many of you are engaged in your learning projects, you have group projects. Well, imagine that the members of this group are dispersed around the world. We try to do this. This, to us, is one of the shortcomings of current e-learning. You can have webinars that sort of mimic giving a power presentation to a group like this. But having a group that has a sense of being together is something that's not offered, we believe, by the current technologies and can be offered by the technologies that are emerging. We're going to show you some commercial products, one commercial product in particular called Second Life, which has got a membership of a couple million people right now. But this is a moving target. And in a couple of years, Second Life is, unless they start, there's already other competitors that are pushing the envelope. And so what I'm here to tell you today is we're going to show you where things are, but sort of based on my 45 years experience, I'm going to try to also show you where I think things are going. And that's probably the more relevant take-home you can get today, is where things, here we are and here we go. So you see the layout on the two screens on the side. We're in a virtual space. We have purchased some virtual land. We call it an island. And through this lecture, we're going to show you different things. And so please be distracted. Look at the side. And in the middle, I'm going to try to tell you a story. One of the key things here, as you'll see, is this is a kind of three-dimensional space. So as you see, you move around and we can see different things. This is all on ordinary computers, by the way. You can log in. If you had your laptop here, you can plug it in and you can download the software while we're talking. Those of you that are really ambitious, it's easy enough that you could join us on this island from a cold start today, knowing nothing. You could log in, download the software, and get over to our island during the hour that I'm speaking. It's that easy to learn. One of the key features you'll see is the notion we are, in a way, this is kind of like theater. So we're on a three-dimensional stage, and we have costumes, but our costumes are quite complete. We actually can be other people. And the word for these other people, we call them avatars. And so here you see the actors in the middle. You see the four players of this presentation in their roles. And I made myself a little bit more muscular. I put on a striped jacket, reduced my age a little bit. Pi is the tall fellow in back. He wanted to be a little bit taller, his virtual persona. Greg apparently thought he needed a little bit more hair. So and who we have? And there's Catherine, and Catherine sort of looks like that. So she's probably the most honest one there. As I say, this technology is useful, I think, if you want to sort of stimulate creativity. If you're trying to convey textbook knowledge, use a textbook. This is not the goal. This is I think, where you can stimulate interactivity between, you get people to interact in creative ways. Here you see a picture of the class when Greg was a student in that class. This was in fall, spring of 07. And Greg is in that picture somewhere. So you see me on a picture picking up. We were giving a PowerPoint presentation like this, but instead of you people sitting there, they were sitting there. Now, it happens they were all local here in Miami. But the big excitement here is these people can be anywhere on Earth and still have the sense of being together. Ask me. Quiet. Anything so far? Yes.
I know this might sound silly, but is this anything at all like that War of the Worlds
Good question. Good
I
question.
always start on that all
Good
the time.
question. All right. Definition. So now you get me to jump around a little bit, which you should never do, but of course, here we go. There are at present about 200 different virtual worlds. I'm using the term generically. And probably more than 2/3 of them are games. Games where people get together and they fight